And we're live.
Yeah, well, to me, it felt like I can't do that. It felt like I would be selling out my brand, you know? And the irony is I ended up doing Wipeout, which was a very similar, family-friendly, you know, slapsticky, goofy style of humor.
It's a lot funnier because it's real
It's
time.
a lot funnier, and I feel like it's more of a teen audience, if anything, because of the violence. They're falling and stuff. Like I watched that show because me as like a 28 or however year old I was at the time, like I just want to see these people fall and smash their faces. I watched MXC, like that Japanese dubbed over version, like anything where people are jumping and going through obstacle courses and falling. It's hilarious.
MXC was fucking hilarious.
MXC is real classic television that this current generation will never know anything about. I think it's actually you can watch it maybe on Netflix or Hulu. Yeah.
I ran into Johnny Knoxville once, and he was like, "Oh, dude, I love Wipeout," and I go, "Really? It seems like it's so tame compared to what you guys do." And he said it so well. He goes, "Yeah, it's just fun watching people get smoked." Like, that's all it is, But so after years of writing family-friendly 8 o'clock, fastball right down the heart of the plate material on Wipeout, I was looking forward to going back to stand-up because it's like I ain't going back to stand-up to not swear after 8 p.m. on ABC, and when Tom Bergeron announced he was stepping down, I was like, oh, dude, now. I'm ready. Like now I'm that guy. I'm perfect for this gig. Yeah. You gotta let me do it. And I screen tested, and Vin DeBona had the last laugh, man. I'm like, no, I want to do the show. And he's like, no, I'm giving it to Alfonso Ribeiro. I was like, oh man.
I mean, it had to be like, as far as I get what you're saying with. Actually, it would have been so much shittier to be Bob Saget with AFV than actually being there watching people fall. And there's always the real potential they could get hurt, and that's funny. And that's something that show did well, is showing people get hit really hard in a way that it looks like it hurts. And then they always just come up looking a little disappointed.
Pop right up. Yeah, everything's really cushioned. And I think they add in a few sound effects, some sound effects every time they're crashing into
some
stuff.
Bone cracking sound effects.
Sure.
We were always trying to push the envelope on how far we could make fun of that danger aspect on Wipeout, and they were always like, no, we don't ever talk about injuries. This is a fun show. So we had a specific type of Wipeout that we called a scorpion. If you face planted so hard that like your feet bowed up and touched the back of your head, we called that a scorpion, right? And this woman did a scorpion that was so unbelievably violent, and the angle of her back was so impossible that the joke that I had written was, I go, oh my God, do we need to get new jobs now? And then she pops up and starts running. I go, nope, we're okay. And they were like, no, you can't do it. I go, why? Why? And they were like, no, we know what you're trying to say. You're trying to say we almost broke our back. And I was like, well, we almost did,
Yeah,
I think this clip is it.
Really?
I was watching some today just to get a refresher because you were saying it's more teens that watch that show. I know at least one gray-haired man who watched it at the time, my grandpa, because he would go from professional bull riding, where people are falling very hard and very dangerously, and then you get a little bit of a break and you go to Wipeout, get some more soft falls, not as violent, and then right back to bull riding. So at least a couple of elderly out there enjoying Wipeout.
This is a true story. I'm good friends with a world-renowned close-up magician named Doc East.
I just saw it.
Remarkable. And I saw him at the Magic Castle, and he goes, hey, a buddy of mine ran the Wipeout course. And I go, oh, yeah, no kidding. How did he do? And he goes, broke his femur real bad. Still walking with limp in a lot of pain. I was like, oh, well.
They say he'll never walk again. He's looking for you. He said you said something distasteful on the coverage. He didn't like it.
Oh, I felt terrible.
You
guys a better angle.
Did you always know that you were one person getting grievously injured away from having to stop the show?
Dude,
like, is that all that it would take?
We did 7 seasons of that show, and two of those years we did a winter version and a summer version. So, in fact, one year we did winter spring, and then summer. So we were on twice a week in prime time for 9 consecutive months. And so really, like 7 seasons was really almost like 9 seasons, you know? And when the show got canceled, obviously I would have loved to have done another season, but when it ended, I went, well, we got out without killing anybody, you know what I mean? Like, thank God that we didn't have any catastrophic injuries.
Another thing I liked about that show is that when you watch like Ninja Warrior, it's like a Ninja Warrior for fat people or just for like preschool teachers or whatever. Like just people who want to go out there. Like with Ninja Warrior, it's like, you know, this is super, super hard, but it is possible. There are things on Wipeout where it'd be like, all right, you need to run across these balls. One of them's a trap. We're not going to tell you. You'll fall right through it. And it's like none of these people from the get-go had a chance. Like you could have put the best at you. Usain Bolt could have been one of the contestants, and he would have failed just like the rest.
Spider-Man, it didn't matter.
First of all, it was not. It was a course designed for failure, right? So if you're doing well, we're not doing our jobs. Second of all, we're not dealing with highly trained athletes. These were not like Olympic caliber competitors. This was like, you know, hey, housewife, 5'2", $180, got a great feeling about you. You know, you're going to be great. And notice that, like, if you watch repeats of Wipeout, the people who built the course actually smartened up, got clever enough to. They would put something moving in your peripheral vision over on your right side to turn your head to your right so you wouldn't see like whatever was coming from the left. They would literally direct your attention this way so that you just got blind.
Spinning an umbrella. What I liked about, like, because I know like the shitty jokes you had to say, that must be draining as a comic especially, but I like comparing it again to Ninja Warrior, it's almost like it beat that to the punch. Because Ninja Warrior, the guy will try and talk up the contestant with like feats they don't really have, that aren't that impressive. Like this is Josh Johnson, and he, you know, won his local karate match almost 2 years in a row. Second place the second year, real close. And they try and build him up. Like also runs 5Ks.
He's got a picture there, trophy in one hand, certificate in another.
He also runs 5Ks often, and you know, it does him really well, always wins. And then he goes, and you're kind of like, oh man, well that guy's a real athlete. I watched a couple clips where you were narrating, and it was almost like you were low-key fucking with the whole thing, being like, this is Susan. She owns one of the rare male calico cats about to sit there on there. And then I remembered she was sitting on one of the blobs, and then she got hit by some weight because you couldn't just get a fat guy. You had to throw a barrel full of cement down onto it. And she flew up so high. And the whole time you were pretending that it was like a really good thing from her. Like, wow, look at the height she's achieved there. And it's like, no, you just established she's a cat owner who was lost in the air with no experience.
It was great, man. I mean, they, you know, when we first started doing that show, Wipeout,
I'm in bad shape.
We got to get you an iron lung, dude.
Oh my God.
You know, I think you can find them on Craigslist. Very gently used, I believe, is what they say in the description. But like the first season on Wipeout, the producers didn't want to do a whole lot of comedy. Like their whole thing was the course is the star of the show. You know, we were told, like in these words, we were told, see dog, say dog. If Woody's running up the stairs, I want you to go, there's Woody running up the stairs. And like, you know, my attitude was like, well, children and dumb people are going to watch no matter what. So why don't we try to like loop in a more discerning audience by making some jokes? And it was like tense. Like people were like, you know, producers were telling me, stop trying to distract the audience with your jokes. This isn't about you, you know? And then like the more it started to catch on, the more slack they started letting out in our comedic leash, so to speak. And by like the third or fourth season, dude, it was just jailbreak. I'm wearing like wigs and doing characters.
Yeah,
and,
it sounds like they didn't understand their own show, because the contestants are not the point of the show. They are the meat that gets ground. The whole point of the show is the obstacle course and you. Like that's it. It's about you're the meat grinder operator and the course is the meat grinder. Like it doesn't matter who they are or what they do. It's actually better if they're not impressive because they're just going to fall flatter. An athlete will like fall in a very athletic kind of way. They'll roll out of things and pop back up. You don't want to see that. You want to see scorpions.
You know, Matt Kunitz is the guy who created Wipeout. He also created Fear Factor, and I loved working for this guy. He's an excellent guy. Hope to work with him again. But he grew to trust me enough that in the last season of the show, my wife had her 40th birthday party. It was an awesome theme party. It was come as the celebrity that you share your birthday with. So you'd have to go look up your birthday, find other celebrities, and then dress in costume as that person. So I went as Yul Brynner. And I got like a King and I costume, and I had a friend who's like a full-on like makeup special effects artist in movies come and do a custom-made bald cap for me. It took like 2.5 hours, and it was flawless. And as soon as she put it on, it looked so good that before I went to the party, I called Matt Kunitz on the phone and I sent him a picture and I go, "We have to do a bald cap show on Wipeout." And he goes, "I don't understand. Why would you be bald?" And I was like, "Who cares? Wow, without a reason, dude. It doesn't matter. It's stupid. It's hilarious. You have to let me do it." And he was like, "All right." Like, didn't make any sense at all, but we made an entire themed show out of me having a bald cap on. It was ridiculous.
I love those shows. Frankly, I want a rougher, tougher version for the 21st century that really has blood. That's what I want. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but I want blood. I want blood.
Want the Running Man.
Now I want the Running Man, but I know I can't get the Running Man. I've been talking about the Running Man for years. All right,
Listen,
don't get me started on the Running Man.
You go to the right country.
I'll have to go get my charts.
Yeah.
My proposals, my PowerPoint presentation. I definitely want the Running Man, but more realistically, I just want to see people jumping over hurdles and swinging through vines and stuff and actually eating shit and getting hurt. They just did a thing on Netflix called The Ultimate Beastmaster, and I mean, they really dressed it up well, and they reworked the old formula nicely. They've got like multinational hosts from like 60 countries and stuff, and they do a good job with it. But there's no blood, and if you look closely, you can tell that every obstacle is so foamed and nerfed out that like it doesn't matter how hard you hit this stuff. The worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to get the breath knocked out of you. But I want to see limbs get like caught. You know those like gymnastic loops. I want to see them like having to wrap.
You don't want to see that. You want to see that until the first scene where it happens.
And like snap, and they're like, ah! And they're dangling from like a broken wrist, and like guys have to like rappel down and like get them and like fix.
This is an expensive show.
That does like a good show, though.
The next time I go to Cabo and the romance department sets me up with a nice hot bath, and then my wife and I are running through the forest, it's going to be Kyle shooting at us, and I'm going to be looking over my shoulder going, "I thought the podcast went well." Shooting at me.
I mean, if it wasn't going to be one of us, it'd be Kyle. You know?
Yeah, he would be my pick.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone would be chasing me through the woods with a gun, I'd prefer it not be Kyle, because I feel like he'd get me.
No,
but
yeah. Dick jokes are my specialty, dude. When we got a double entendre into Wipeout, it was like, it was just the greatest feeling. Every time we snuck a dick joke into Wipeout, it was like an angel got his wings for me. You know what I mean? It was like so satisfying every time we were able to get in a dirty joke. And it was hard because they were really keeping an eye on us. We used to call that show the dirtiest family show on TV, playing with the idea of all the mud and stuff. But it was we were constantly trying to my prototype for that was like I grew up in the era of like Bugs Bunny and stuff. And when you were a kid and you were watching Bugs Bunny, there would always be like a joke that you didn't get that your parents would laugh at.
Yeah.
And so we were trying hard whenever we had the opportunity to play to two different audiences. We were trying to play to kids, and then every once in a while fire fastballs over the heads of the kids.
The Pixar model.
Yeah, exactly. Do something like inside jokes for the grown-ups. And like here's we did one with a guy. This was a pretty good story. I forgot about this. So there was a guy, like a grown man, who's every person would do an interview, and then based on the pre-interview, we would give you like a moniker or a nickname, and then that would become the hanger that we put all of the jokes on. So, Kyle would be the gun nut, and Woody would be the lunger. You know what I mean? We'd be making tombstone jokes about it. But like, and so every joke relates back to your nickname, your brand, as we called it. And we had this guy whose brand was the Justin Bieber fan. And so he was like a grown man that was way too into Justin Bieber. And at one point, they come back to us on camera, and you hear an ice cream truck in the background, and I just go, ice cream, and I turn around and run off camera. And then like John Anderson continues talking, and a few seconds later I come back in like this, and he goes, what's the matter? And I go, I thought it was the ice cream truck, but it was the ringtone on the Justin Bieber's fan cell phone. And he goes, yeah? And I go, yeah. He said he had a bomb pop, but he didn't. It was like, whoa, And so my wife and I went out to dinner for sushi at this restaurant in Hollywood, and we're sitting down, and the waiter comes over to me and goes, hey, are you the guy from Wipeout? And I go, yeah, why? And he goes, I'm the Justin Bieber fan. I was like, okay, maybe we
I
should
got kicked
here.
out of Boy Scouts. I've been a den leader since '69.
I was a little worried about leaving that dude alone with my wasabi. You know what I mean? I don't want anybody putting any extra sauce on my sushi.
No, the way your life goes, it'd be more like, oh, that was a hilarious ringtone joke. I'd like you to come here the next week and eat for free every meal. And my cousin has a great timeshare. What the fuck else he offer you?
I've been very, very, I've been very lucky, man. I've had a good string lately, and hopefully my luck continues, dude. Because I wandered into a whole bunch of like a year or two of free vacation.
That's awesome.
Pretty sweet.